For week 3, segment B, we're going to take a look at the marketing mix in a little more detail. So what again is the marketing mix? Many refer to it as the 4 Ps, and those are the controllable factors that management has of your marketing efforts. They include price, the product, and when we say, well, how do we control product? Well, we can if we're making sandwiches, we can make it a bigger sandwich or a smaller sandwich. We can do a higher quality or a lower quality. So those are kind of the variables for the product. And by the way, services are included under the product P, if you will. So you've got price, product, promotion, and place. Promotion is how you decide to get your message out to your audience, to prospective customers. And it could include things like your advertising. Are you on the radio or television? Are you doing coupons? Or maybe you're doing a big event that's going to be advertised throughout the newspaper, and maybe you're supporting a local organization that's going to get people to come in and reach out to you. All of that is part of the promotion category. And then place is where you're choosing to locate your price or product, or the product you have available. So are you going to be located in several parts in the city? Like we see, like a McDonald's is almost everywhere. Starbucks, you might have 4, one on each corner of a busy intersection. So we can see that place can be a significant factor, and how many competitors of the same brand your franchise allows in a region could be a significant aspect for you. Certainly a question worth asking. Could you end up opening one of your franchises and have a competitor with the same brand name across the street? That might be a little bit more challenging. At any rate, the 4 Ps again are the elements you or your franchisor has control over. The things that we have less control over is our marketing environment, the environment in which we are operating. And the marketing environment, which is considered the uncontrollables, are such things as social factors, demographics, economic environment, political and legal, technology, competition. All of these things will impact what we need to be responding to. And when we talk about doing our environmental scanning, we're trying to be aware of each of these elements. If the local ordinance in your city changes to where kids can't be out after 10 p.m., what's that going to do to your 10 p.m. to midnight traffic? If you're a Taco Bell, that could be a very serious concern, because a lot of kids, stay up late and go to Taco Bell. So that's an example of how, and that could be a function of politics and legislation, but that are impacting your particular plan. And if that had been your significant marketplace, or that's who the customers were from that 10 to noon or 10 to midnight, you might find that you're going to close earlier. Because if your customers can't come to you, there's no sense in staying open, especially if you're only going to get 1 or 2 customers throughout that 2-hour period. So there are certainly things out there that are going to impact us. When we see the economy changing, and it looks like these days it's changing for the positive, what's that going to do to our business? Hopefully the dollar menu, and again I tend to focus on things that we can all identify with, but if we're a sandwich shop, the dollar menu items might be purchased a little bit less frequently, and more of your high value items should be sold a little bit more often because people have more money in their pockets. If you're a service, maybe a luxury provider, a luxury service provider, you might find that you have a lot more customers or repeat business. Maybe you can start offering, try to develop a repeat business and get people in 2 or 3 times a month rather than once a month. And so maybe a promotion or coupon or a loyalty program would make a lot of sense for you. What we want to make sure we're doing is regularly scanning the environment and adjusting our marketing mix, again, to maximize customer satisfaction and our revenues. It's all good. So how do we go about collecting this kind of data? That's generally done through marketing research. Marketing research can be multifaceted. It's primarily divided into primary and secondary research. Secondary is material that's already produced and out there for you. Generally speaking, it's the most readily available, and it tends to be cheaper and easier to get your hands on. The Census Bureau might be an example. You can get the reports from the 2010 census. You might have your franchisor might have research that's available to you. Um, Reading the local newspaper or the Bloomberg Business Week. Any of those kind of sources are great for collecting data and helping you to understand what's happening in your environment. Sometimes we find that secondary data isn't specific enough to our purposes. Maybe we want to try to determine exactly what would happen if we changed our pricing by 10 or 15%. And then we tend to go to primary data. Primary research is research we collect on our own. So we're actually spending the time, money, and effort to design some sort of research project, collect the data, analyze it, and then ideally implement it into a program. Primary data, as you can see, it's a lot more time consuming, but the upside could be very good. You could find out exactly what your customers want. One example of a primary data collection method would be like a focus group. And let's say you go into a local school and you see if you can you offer, some sort of benefit to 10 or 15 different students if they would participate in a focus group for you. And you put them into a room and you'd start asking them questions and talking to them and getting them to share what they would think about maybe some of the changes you're thinking about making. You could come away with a lot of excellent information from a focus group like this. There are a number of different ways, whether it's the little cards where customers can fill out and say how their services were or how happy they are, asking people as they're leaving your shop. Lots of ways to collect primary data, and even at some level, whether it's saying hi, how was your service today, drawing it out on a customer by customer basis, it does make sense to try to collect that kind of data. Ultimately, what you want to do is take what we've talked about in regards to segmentation, target market, scanning our environment, and adjusting our marketing mix to create customer satisfaction, maximize our cash flow, and again, to a large extent, we can use the digital technology in the e-environment to help us collect this data. Facebook, social networking. What if we do things like offer 10% coupon if people go to Facebook and like us, things like that. If we can bring everything together, get people talking about us, maybe get some of that buzz going, we could have a great time. And honestly, doesn't it make the job so much more fun if you've got everybody engaged on the same path and your customers are happy and you're happy and your operations is working? So look at marketing as fun. It's a huge opportunity, and it's all good. You all have a great day. We'll see you next week, week 4.